going to do the countdown, and you all are going to help. Are you ready, Andrew? We're going to do the countdown. All right, let's do it. Everybody with me. We're going to start at 3. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
Practice. He's got some stuff under his belt.
Yes,
but, all right, here we go. Level 3 complete. Peter Charles out in the front with 440 points. We got Michael Jarman just behind, along with Patrick Chatane. Here's Patrick. He's looking at level 2, and he does have bonus to those next levels. Okay, so we got just 15 seconds now to elimination.
Yeah. They're moving around an asteroid field trying to find the optimal path. So it's a lot of cell movement based on asteroid value.
Really challenging.
That's really challenging.
Yeah.
Over is over. All right, and Andrew now he's looking around. He's taking his headphones off. What is he doing? Okay, is he safe? Is he safe? This is bold. This is bold. Look at him crossing his arms. No. The guy is flexing.
19,
He's flexing.
18,
He's flexing.
16,
what is he doing? Look at this guy. Look
14,
at
It is all over, boys and girls. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all age, we have our new winner.
Oh man. That just gave it up.
Let's move over here to the center of the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, your third place winner. That's where you all applaud. Your third place winner.
Yeah.
Your second place winner. And our new Microsoft Excel World Champion, Andrew Guy.
See.
Fastest way to reach kids is to train teachers. And our end game is always helping kids to become financially capable adults. The North Star of the National Educator Conference is to engage, to inspire, and to appreciate teachers. It's really building a community, and we call it a Jumpstart family. If there's ever a time financial education is needed, it's now.
Don't we do something about replacing these?
Well, yeah. First comes a digital twin of the factory. Then you optimize it so you can build the real one that produces batteries in record time.
How did you do that?
Hello and welcome to the Microsoft Excel World Championships, battle number 1 of the 2024 season here on the road to Las Vegas. Today we're going to be watching some of our top competitors solve a complex case in Excel in a 30-minute battle in the esports format. My name is John Alcampora. I'm here with my host, David Brown. David, welcome.
Today we're going to be watching this esports battle. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about the esports format and what they can expect?
Yeah, esports is really going to be different from traditional financial modeling competitions. Maybe not traditional, but they're a little bit older than the esports format, where it's really just about games, right? These could be kids games, they could be board games, it could just be, a math problem that we want to put into this, physics, whatever. The sky is the limit, and it really allows everyone to come in kind of on equal footing to approach the different challenges.
Yeah, it's awesome to watch this because if you're not super familiar with Excel, or maybe you don't use it for financial modeling, you'll still learn a lot today watching our top competitors here solve these cases. And we do have some of our top competitors from the FMWC and last year's Road to Las Vegas as well. Probably Dim Early is our number one competitor here, our top competitor, number 2 seed from last year. What are you kind of expecting or excited about today, David, with our competitors here?
I'm really excited to see the back and forth action. Including the two of us, almost all of us were in Vegas this year. So we got to see Jack there, Klinsman, and I think they can really give Dim a run for his money. And so, Dim is the favorite here, but I would not write off an upset at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be a lot of fun to watch. And I should also mention, David, that you've built quite a rap sheet here as well in the FMWC, in this financial modeling competition world. You're a professor at the University of Arizona teaching financial modeling. You're also the head of the college level series of this, the MECC. You've been a competitor here, and you're also today's case author. So you're going to have a ton of insights to bring to us today, which I'm really excited to be alongside you. And now we can bring in our competitors and see how they're ready, or if they're getting ready for this event and how they're doing. All right, awesome. So we have our competitors here. As we were just talking about, Dim, you're probably our number 1 seed here. How are you feeling today?
Feeling a little bit of pressure. I prefer plucky underdog status, but I'm excited. It's always fun.
Love it, love it. And Jack, I know you're excited. This is your first time on one of these live streams. How are you feeling?
Absolutely terrified, and I'm going for that plucky underdog status.
Okay, love it. How are you guys? What's your strategy going into this to take down some of our top competitors here?
Just get my head down and try and do as much as I possibly can. We've had a couple of training sessions in the build-up on the Discord that we started since the training camp, and that's gone quite well. And we've all been following Diamit's very useful beginner boot camp, so that's helped.
Love it. Doing your homework, getting ready. Samir, representing the Ukraine, how are you feeling?
All good. I think the goal is to make it not just a second place competition and try to compete with Dim as well.
Love it. All right. Go ahead and bring down Dim. And Klinsman, you are representing Brazil, and some exciting news last week. You're also going to be heading up the chapter of the FMWC in Brazil, which is super exciting. Can you tell our audience a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, we announced it last week, and yesterday we had a live talking about the concept, the format, and also as I'm playing here today, I invited all of the Brazilians to watch the stream. I'm a little extra nervous because of that, but let's take it easy and get it.
Yeah, that's great. I know Brazilian fans are very passionate about their sports, and I'm sure Excel is one of those. So it'll be really exciting to see FMWC and esports in Brazil and watch that unfold. So congratulations and thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're gonna watch now the case introduction animation video. So we're gonna get an idea of what today's case is all about, and then we'll come back and see if everyone has any questions, and we'll get started.
Road to Las Vegas Battle 1. These series of Excel esports battles are part of qualification to the main draw of the Microsoft Excel World Championship 2024, with the finals taking place in HyperX Arena Las Vegas in December. We are glad to present you the case for the battle, Doggy Daycare, designed by David Brown from the US. In Doggy Daycare, you will track dogs' movements as they move about the doggy daycare facility. Determine how far they have traveled and make sure they are well fed and bathed. Levels 1 and 2 introduce you to the movement mechanics. Levels 3 and 4 ask you to calculate how far the dogs have traveled, and Level 5 asks you to locate the dogs after many turns of movement. In Levels 6 through 8, you put all of those techniques together to determine when dogs eat, when they take baths, and where they end up throughout their many daily adventures. There are 5 bonus questions, some of which are independent of the levels. Plan your strategy wisely. Good luck, and see you in Las Vegas.
Are you a high achiever with an analytical background? Learn about a career at Equity Methods, the #1 rated equity compensation consulting firm and a top company to work for in Arizona. When you join our team, you'll be equipped with all the training you need to jumpstart your consulting career, contribute to high-value projects with prestigious clients, expand your technical expertise, learn client relations, and more. Go to equitymethods.com/careers to view our current opportunities.
All right, welcome back. So you guys saw the case animation video there, but you also saw something that's a little new, and that's some commercials that we have in here. That's because we want to recognize our sponsors. And really, as head of the MECC, the sponsors really make it go for the students. They're there to hire the students, but they're also there to really support them in their educational journey. So I just want to call out, Equity Methods, a great sponsor from last year. And also, before the broadcast, we saw both Siemens and Jumpstart, which is a partner of the National Endowment for Financial Education. And so those are really great institutions that help us make this possible. All right, so thank you again to our sponsors on that. And now let's talk a little bit about the case here. So the case, John, what did you think looking at it? I designed it, so I liked it, but what did you think?
I love it. I love doggy daycare. I love the idea of it. As you saw kind of in the animation video there are a lot of arrows that the competitors are going to have to figure out, those directional arrows. So I love that piece of it as well. I think it'll be a challenge. And I don't know if we've ever had 8 levels before. Have we ever had 8 levels on a case?
I think only in the finals that we saw in Vegas did we have 8 levels, and we didn't get through them all. Right. So it'll be interesting to see, does anybody get through all 8 levels? And the reason we have 8 levels is because we have college students at the same time as the pros going through this case today. And so we want to make those first few levels accessible. That way, hopefully, whether you're brand new to this or if you're a seasoned pro, they're going to be fun, challenging, and you see yourself making some progress through them.
Yeah, I love that. I love that design because, like you said, we'll see points on the board right away, or we're expecting to see some points on the board right away. So that will hopefully have a lot of back and forth in terms of the leaderboard and things like that throughout this competition. And we also have bonus points, which will come into play too. There's always a strategy there with bonus points.
I think it makes the strategy even more interesting between the early easy levels and those bonus points, because you can really post some quick points either way. And remember, our competitors, it's only the first 2 that get the bonus questions right that actually get credit for them. So there's going to be a race because I think 3 of the bonus questions have nothing to do with the rest of the levels. So you can really attempt them right off the bat.
Yeah, great point. So that we'll see those points as well. And those points will go quick because of that elimination. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Our competitors right now are just reviewing the case, and we're going to bring them back in just a minute here or so. But we are giving them a chance to review the case, all 8 of these levels. To see how they're doing with that. And David, we are on battle number 1 here. Can you kind of quickly tell us where we're at in this season and what we're leading to with the road to Las Vegas?
Yeah, so whether you're a student or a pro, we're going to Vegas, right? We're going to have students and pros together in Vegas in December. We're really close to nailing down December 2nd through 4th as our official dates for that. Stay tuned for an email announcement when it becomes officially official. But we think we're close to that, which is why I'm willing to say it on the broadcast today.
Love it. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is going to be a series of monthly battles. Our students, we're going to take the top 5 students from today, and they're going to get a seat in Las Vegas. Our top pros are getting seats in Las Vegas. So there are really lots of ways to get lots of people to Vegas, because our goal is to really just make a bigger event this year where lots of people can interact. And that interaction is what's so valuable, right? We get a chance to learn from each other, to network, to create new projects and opportunities off of it. So that's our goal and what we're driving to. And the FMWC team is working really hard on this to make sure we got those dates lined up, but also so it's affordable, right? For a 3-day conference with all the training, with all the gaming, right now they have that price listed at $699, which is really a very competitive price. And I think it's going to go up $50 every month. So we want to get everybody involved, get booked early. That way we can really do a blowout event in Vegas this year.
So awesome. I can't believe we're already talking about Vegas. Next year, we just came off of it last month, and it was such an incredible event. For anyone that didn't get a chance to go last year or missed out for whatever reason, definitely get your tickets for 2024 because it's going to be even better this year, bigger and better, and we're going to have the college students as well. And if you haven't been around that kind of college energy, it's just incredible. I absolutely love the college events. Brings a new level of energy there. So with all that said, let's bring our competitors back on and see if they have any questions. We'll get started. All right, anyone, any questions on this doggy daycare 8-level challenge?
Not yet.
I had one just on bonus 2. It says, sorry, is it bonus 2? Yes, bonus 2. How many times the direction that appears most often? So am I right in saying that means we exclude the sample direction in level 2, but just include the ones that have numbers next to them?
I can give a quick answer to that. Hold on. Yes, exclude the direction answers, just the ones that have numbers next to them.
Okay, but sorry, so if there's like a 2 and an arrow, is that 2 of that arrow, or is that just one occurrence of that arrow?
One occurrence of that arrow. So don't multiply by the number.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Good question. All right, if there's no other questions, David, you want to count us in?
Yeah, let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excel get.
Love it. All right, here we go. We're seeing all 4 competitors' screens, and we will zoom into each of their screens so we can see them a little more closely. But they're going to be getting off the quick starts, like we just said. Right now, you can see that doggy daycare grid where the dog pen is. How'd you come up with that design, David?
You know, it just pops into your head and you put it down. You start working on these things, and I don't know exactly how it comes up, but you know, they're Dim's booking that first question. Looks like Dim and Klinsman both got that 40 points for how many spots we have between the feeding and the bathing areas. So you know, less than 30 seconds for 2 people to get that posted. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's quick scores. Like we anticipated, we're going to see some quick scores here. And if this is your first time watching an FMWC event, on the top right there, you'll see the leaderboard. And then we're currently watching Dim's screen, that's Dearman's screen, and you can see the levels. He's cleared in the bottom right corner, so he does have bonus question number 1 cleared there. Probably working on bonus 2 here as well.
Yep, that's the total number of arrows. That's what he was just asking about in the pregame there.
Had it on his mind, ready to solve that one. Look at
like
this,
most lambdas. It must be a lambda of his built, most of, right?
Yeah, that's not a typical function you'd see in Excel. So that's probably a lambda, which is a relatively new feature of Excel where you can build your own custom functions. And I know Dim has a small library of them that he uses for these cases.
Yeah, and it looks like he's got the answer there. He's got to just get it in, and it should be correct.
Yeah, and that's another thing to note, that the competitors put their scores, post them into a separate sheet, a separate Excel online file. So as they start to solve these cases, they'll post them to the score sheet, and then we'll see those scores reflect. So that's kind of how we're scoring, since we're doing this all virtually and everything like that.
Yeah, should we see where Jack is doing? How she's approaching the case right away?
Yeah. Jack was also in Vegas last year. She made it through part of the main draw, not into the finals, unfortunately, but great to see her here competing as well. Looks like she's now going on bonus 3, probably knowing that bonus 1 and 2 might be closed.
Right. It's tough to make that call of how you want to skip forward or not on those.
Yeah.
It looks like
absolutely.
Up to 130, so he might be going through the regular levels at this point.
Okay. Yeah. Good point there. Yeah, because he's got bonus 1 and 2 most likely, and then moving on. The level 1's easy, worth 40 points. And like you said before, those first 2 levels, they'll probably get through this pretty quick.
Yeah, exactly. Their Dim's up to 190, so he's moving pretty quickly. And what level is Jack working on here? Can we tell? It looks like the bonus, right? The bonus 3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like the bonus. Looks like she's got her Excel Labs formula editor over there on the right too.
Yeah.
New auditing tool and debugger in Excel Labs just announced earlier this month. It's a pretty cool new tool.
Do you work over that do you work in that area more so than the regular formula bar when you're making new formulas?
I typically don't, mostly because I'm doing a lot of training. You know, but I think I've started to kind of appreciate it more for sure.
Right. I see that Klinsman's up to 80, so let's see what he's scored besides that first bonus.
All right. So he's got level 1 down.
Yeah, and in level 1 and 2, you're really just kind of isolating different parts of the movement, whether it's the magnitude of the movement or the direction. It looks like Proc X, is that one you know, or is that a Brazilian function that
Yeah, I think it looks like he's Portuguese. Yeah, Portuguese.
Portuguese, yep.
Language version of Excel there. So we might not be recognizing all of these functions, but that's probably like left or right function, I'm guessing, for that one. For the level 1. Now moving on to level 2.
Well,
as you can see here. Oh yeah, okay.
I was just going to comment. He forgot to start his timer, so we'll see if he can keep track of the time as he goes through this one.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
We're going to start guessing on language. I think derecha, given my Spanish knowledge, that's probably right.
Yeah. Derecha. Yeah. Okay. So pulling out the arrows there. We can see he's pulling out the arrows, converting them,
and getting close to an answer.
Yeah. Has probably a lookup table up there with those arrow directions. In this case, we need to do some multiplier, and look at that. We got a data table.
Yep. Data table early on. Tabella. Oh, and we got Jack up on the board too, and their Klinsman just at this level as well. So that's great.
If you're joining us on YouTube, make sure to post there who you're voting for today. Got some polls going, some voting. You can do some voting on who you're voting for, and also just share the love. Blow up the comment section there. I saw some questions there on if this was a timed elimination. It is not. So all of our competitors have the full 30 minutes to solve this case. Unlike the finals in Las Vegas, this one's a little different format. So we'll see.
It takes the pressure off when you don't have to try to get those first few minutes worth of points. And Samir might be just building up some of his later levels and some of the machinery to make this thing a little bit easier in the future.
Yeah, that's a good point, because as you said, these build, so you can, or at least the first 4 do, correct? And then you can use that logic throughout.
Yeah, I mean, we were discussing this the other day, John, that when you get to levels 6, 7, and 8, they're just kind of layers of logic that you add on, going from 6 to 7 and 7 to 8. And it might be an optimal strategy here to start with level 8, fully solve it, and then you can easily strip out the extra logic that you don't need for levels 6 and 7. So I'll be really interested to see if anybody caught on to that and trying to solve kind of from the bottom to the top.
Yeah, that's would be an interesting strategy. You'd really have to read through all 8 levels, all the instructions, and then take probably some time to kind of comprehend that that's what's going on. But I think you could do that by just reading the instructions, right? So definitely be interesting, because that level 8 is worth 200 points, where, like you said, level 7 is only worth 100. So it makes sense to get those extra points.
Exactly.
Dim's out there. He's got 430 so far. We haven't seen Samir yet. Let's check out Samir and see how he's doing. Looks like he's got some answers going. Either he hasn't posted them yet, or he's working. Maybe he's doing what you said, working on some of the harder levels here.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a lot of setup here, because like he's got the L and the N, and that's going to help him. I mean, that's essentially the up and the down.
Yeah.
Sorry, the left, right versus up, down, and he's got all the arrows with with the minuses and zeros and pluses. So he's got a lot of infrastructure built that he's going to need for the latter levels. So yeah, I won't be surprised. And there he's got his first 40. So level 1 is good now, and he can probably use this infrastructure to go quickly through these next few levels.
Interesting. Yeah, you're right.
And Jack just moved into second, 150 over Klinsman.
All right.
Should we take a look and see what Dim's cleared through so far?
Yeah, let's check it out.
So he's at 430. So that second bonus isn't showing up as correct. I think that's one on my end. I saw him put 559 in, so I think he got the second bonus right according to my answers.
Interesting. Okay, we'll have to see what happened there. Maybe second guessed it or something like that. But
Every
yeah,
so often we have a formatting error go in there. That happened in my first time reading live.
Sure. Yeah, especially with this case, we'll have a lot of that where you're stripping out numbers and text. So you might get some text values or numbers stored as text, I should say.
Right.
So yeah, that could be a possibility here. But Tim is definitely flying through this. He's cleared level 5. I mean, that's pretty incredible with over 21 minutes to go. He's going to have a lot of time to work on 6, 7, and 8.
Right.
And
he's
wow.
setting up the level 5 bonus right now, it looks like.
Okay.
Right? 'Cause the level 5 bonus, you're taking the movement you've figured out in level 5. You're just applying it to all the movement that happens across levels 6, 7, and 8.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's bonus number 4 there. So
yeah, great.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, so basically now it's just a matter of can you wrangle that data in such a way to then apply what you've already built to it. And it looks like he's got some functions built that are just doing it automatically for him almost.
Yeah, taking a lot of that little grunt work out of it with some of these lambdas, which is and let. I love to watch Dim model here because he's just modeling with let and a lot of lambdas and just kind of typically you might write a formula and then kind of go back and write a let to make it more efficient, and he just kind of does it from the start, which is pretty impressive to see. And for those that haven't used let yet, there's essentially variables there that Dim is using to kind of solve portions of the formula, and then you can reuse those variables within the formula to just make it more efficient and easier to calculate. So
I think we see some of the risk of it here, in that he put his answer in for that 4th bonus, and that is not a correct answer. So
okay,
it might have been a translation issue. Maybe he didn't get all the data quite right, but it gets really tough when you have those short formulas to know exactly what to plug in where without making a little error.
Interesting. Yeah.
All right.
So we got Dim out in the lead, and we got Jack in second. Let's see what Jack's up to.
All right, levels 1 through 3, and she got that 3rd bonus booked, and it does look like the 1st bonus is closed. I don't know if we saw if the 2nd bonus got fully closed yet. I think Klinsman might have gotten that one.
Okay, yeah. So she's on to level 4, which is figuring out how far the dog's traveled. So I really like how you created this part of the case, because essentially we're looking there at those arrows and the direction so how many movements they've made, essentially how many cells they've moved since we've brought the doggy daycare into the Excel grid, but essentially how far they're moving and in what direction. And in this one, you have to figure out their total distance moved, which might not be that far. They might have kind of ran in circles on a lot of these situations. But I love that. I thought it was very realistic on probably how a dog would kind of run around and stuff.
It sounds like you might have some dogs at home. Is that the case?
No, not right now. We don't have any pets right now. We're thinking about it. We have 2 small kids, so that keeps us plenty busy. How about you?
Also 2 small kids, and then a geriatric cat at this point that is 17. So
okay,
you know, she's going around in circles, but not as quickly as she used to.
Not as fast as Jack and Dim and everyone else are flying through this case, huh?
Yeah. No, this case was originally going to be the end of one of the MECC challenges, but I fell into the trap of trying to design too much in one case, and so that the case you may have seen is the case where we looked at pet ownership by Excel All Stars, and we had the cat ownership, the dog ownership, the cost of vet bills and food and all that, and how that all added up. So this was an extension of that luckily I got to pull out and make 2 cases instead of 1.
Ah, very cool. Yeah, that was a fun case. That was a challenging one too, with all the components there. But now we're seeing Jack on to level 5. So this is great to see her pass all 4 of the first levels there and get onto level 5, which is a medium hard level. It's worth 160 points. And again, trying to just now figure out the cell value to return the cell value of where the dog moved to based on the start location with all of those different move sequences there.
Exactly, because when you get to you have to have that location, because once you get to levels 6, 7, and 8, now we got to see where the baths take place, where you can get food, and that's going to all be location based, which kind of adds the next big wrinkle in this case.
Yeah, and she looks like she's got some answers there.
Yeah,
Interesting.
She's 550, so she's cleared the first 5 levels, and she's on to 6, 7, and 8.
Wow, so right on the heels of Dim.
Yes, 70
Jack.
points is all the separation is.
Yeah, she's taking a minute, a breather there to look at this one. Consume all those diagonal arrows. And get
Let's
back
see where
to it.
Klinsman's at this point, because I think he's probably pretty close to catching up. Yeah, he's through
Yeah.
level 4, getting level 5, and looks like probably trying to get the address. It looks like that's what that function's doing.
Okay. Yeah, and you're right. He's so focused he hasn't noticed that timer hovering there, which is good. Good to see.
It actually does look like bonus 2 is open, so that might come in later in the game, since I think Dim is the only one to have gotten it so far. So maybe that'll make a big difference at the end.
Yeah, and I guess it would kind of make sense because in that particular one you'd have to do all the splitting for the between the arrows and numbers, right? So you might want to do that at the end.
Right, and that's where just wrangling the data. It's kind of a manual process of getting it into a more workable format. So
Yeah.
I think that's a huge skill, though, and that's a lot of what we have to do in our day-to-day work. Is you get a big messy data set, how do you get it usable as quickly as possible?
Yeah, that's a great point. Extract it. Yeah, you're right. The competitors might have thought, they looked at that and said, well, it's 8 levels worth of rows of arrows that I got to extract out. It's going to take, it's just manual work to get all those consolidated somehow. Maybe there's not a quick way to filter it or sort it or something. So yeah, just guess they didn't go for it. And it's worth what, 40 points. So maybe that's factor there too. Don't know.
Yeah.
But, or 30 points is worth 30
Yeah.
points. So it's a least valuable bonus. So that could have factored into it too. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Always
well,
some strategy. I love to see that.
And Samir's starting to close the gap. So we've got
Right.
So he's probably through level 4 now, would be my guess. Hopefully we can flip over there in just a second.
Yeah.
Yep, just cleared level 4. So like I said, he's got that infrastructure built, and yeah, he's set it up to example 5 now. He's going to try to match up on that and really just get that location back out. And again, since he's got this infrastructure built, it should translate very well into levels 6, 7, and 8, where you just have to add some extra logic layers on.
So it'll be interesting to see if him not having any bonuses comes into play there, because like you said, he could get all the way through the end of this case, as could Dim and Jack and everyone really here, with just through the halfway mark, under 15 minutes to go. Still have plenty of time for these competitors to put some points on the board. As you
Can we
see,
take a look at where Dim is at this point? I'd love to see kind of how he's approaching these last couple.
Yeah.
All right. So it looks like he is classifying the different cells and what they are. So since he's got water and grass there, it looks like he's probably done all the cells. So maybe he did a way of getting everything covered.
Interesting. Yeah. So for everyone watching, there is a doggy daycare grid that we saw at the beginning with cells that have either water, grass, or what's the brown part called? The food.
Yeah, the food.
Food. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting how he's classified those. I love to see that formula.
And it looks like he's debugging real quickly. It looks like he might be paying attention to all 3 levels at the same time. It's tough to tell. He just put his answers to level 6 in, like he's getting them in the online sheet right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
There's level 6. He got it all.
Wow.
All right. So he's going straight through 6th and 7th and 8 is my guess. Is how he's going to try to layer this up.
Yeah. Okay. So it wouldn't make sense to necessarily go from 6 to 8, right?
Probably not. Yeah, because you need the baths incorporated by the time you get to 8.
Okay.
That's kind of level 7 is adding the bath component, which is key for level 8. So you could go from level 8 to 7 to 6, but you don't want to go 6 to 8 without also getting 7 in the middle.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so he's on it though. And yeah, as for our viewers, you can also see his keyboard shortcut sequences on the right side of his screen there. Absolutely flying through this, as all of our competitors do. That's a huge skill to have, especially in this type of timed competition where every second counts. Just the ability to navigate through Excel with keyboard shortcuts makes it so much faster.
And what I love about the keystroke tracker is that watching at home, you're not going to catch it live. But if you see something you don't know how to do and you see it happen on the screen, go back, pause the video, see what the keystrokes were to do that, and then bring that into your own practice at home. I've learned a number of things from Dim's videos doing exactly that. And it's kind of painstaking, but it's also kind of fun to learn that new skill and see yourself getting better right away.
I absolutely love that tip. That is a great tip from a competitor. So if you're thinking about competing in this series, you can absolutely do that. If you're watching this for the first time, or you've watched it before and you thought, oh, I want to try that, looks like fun, or maybe you're thinking I could do better than Dim, then get involved. You go to fmworldcup.com and you can get involved with this. Sign up and for battle number 2, which is coming up next month, and get involved and join us here. You don't have to be on the live stream if you're concerned about that. This can just be done on your computer. You don't have to be on the live stream or anything like that. We have plenty of competitors, and we'll announce those winners after this event is over. We'll announce those winners too from both this series and the collegiate series as well. So get involved here. We'd love to see you, and we'd love to see you in Vegas too.
Yeah, it'd be great to see a ton of people there. And I just want to reiterate, like, these aren't about winning. These are about, practicing your skills, seeing where you're at, and then learning new things, right? That's what I love about Excel Esports. I've taught financial modeling at the University of Arizona for 10 years now. And my knowledge of Excel has catapulted in the last couple of years because of watching people like Dim, who go through these, post their videos, talk about how the functions are used, and hosts like you, John, that would go through new functions that I didn't know about. I remember learning filter a couple of years ago, working through a card-based challenge that I had no idea how to approach. And you can use many layers of if statements, but as soon as you realize, oh my gosh, filter can do this, and it's so powerful, it really just changes the way you model, and now it changes the way I teach, and I'm able to bring that into the classroom now. So, anybody can bring it into their own practice as well, which again, I think that's the biggest benefit here, is that you're kind of assessing yourself and learning new things.
Yeah, absolutely. And just practicing too. You can also get the case files here, the practice files. You can get that at fmworldcup.com as well. And that's a great way to learn some of these cases. If you haven't approached one yet, you can download those there and try them out, practice, watch these videos. A lot of our competitors are now making content on YouTube and TikTok and other places. Diarmid has a popular YouTube channel where he's posting how to solve these. And so check that out as well.
He just did a great series with Giles Mail of the Full Stack Modeler on how to basically do the boot camp of Excel Esports, and a lot of the techniques that make these things a little bit easier. For example, on the map here, you see different colors, and there's things you can do to identify those colors and operate on everything that's a certain color cell. And so learning those tricks and tips really kind of are, in a sense, I think he says table stakes for a lot of these games. And it's a great way to learn.
Yeah, and a lot of these can also be applied, these techniques can be applied to your, whatever you're using Excel for at your day job or your career and things like that too. Even though this is games, I know all of my knowledge of this has come from the opposite way, but now as I'm watching these, and I really love watching these esports events, I'm now learning stuff that I can apply the other way around. So it works both ways. And we have Klinsmann in second place now. He's moved up into second with 560, just over Jack with 550 points. So we'll go see how Klinsmann's doing.
Yeah, it looks like Samir was wrangling with trying to get the cell addresses exactly right off of that.
Yeah, still working through that one.
So Klinsmann has a partial solve here. So he's got part of level 6 going. It looks like he's looking at level 7.
Yeah, interesting. So either he has those wrong, or he just decided to move on to 7. But if he has now he has partial points for 7 as well. So maybe something's not.
Is he going ran between already?
It's too early for that.
It is. You got 7.5 minutes left. Although maybe he forgot since he didn't start his timer.
Oh, that could be. And for anyone wondering, what David's referring to is the rand between function in Excel to give you a random number between two parameters that you specify. And we've seen our competitors use that towards the end of the competition to just kind of throw a Hail Mary on the scoreboard to see if any of the numbers, just pretty much guess, right? Guess at what the answer would be, and use that function to do that. Maybe squeak by with 1 or 2 points here or there, which can, when the battle's close, that can tip the scales. In this scenario, I don't think it's going to help too much, although it will potentially maybe give him second place points because he's just
Yeah.
right above Jack.
Yeah, second is looking really close and tight. And it looks like Dim got a few more points. I wonder if he got the bonus or if he got a partial level as well.
Yeah, let's see how he's done. We haven't seen him in a while.
Oh, looks
Another
like
let function.
he got level 7. So that, again, you mentioned earlier that was a 100-point level, right?
Yeah.
So you're basically adding on the bath piece, which is checking, do you ever end up in those blue cells? And so it's just a little bit of extra logic to add, but it helps you kind of get to that next step of level 8. My strategy here as the case designer was just to create more discrete steps. You could make levels 6, 7, and 8 all one big level, but this way we get to see a little bit more action and we can see how they're completing which parts. And in a sense, it's almost like giving partial credit on a test. So hopefully people appreciate getting that partial credit and that feedback that you're on the right track.
Yeah, I like that. They kind of build on it. And with level 8, you've introduced some fun new rules that when the dog hits a square where they eat, they double their energy, which is cool.
Yeah.
So they start running a little faster, which I don't have dogs, but I have kids, and that absolutely happens all the time. And also
then they
restricted
also-
their movement, which I
Right,
love
they
too.
try to climb over the fence, which also happens with kids.
Yeah.
So maybe I just should have called this case daycare and not doggy daycare, and it would have been a little true to your and my experiences.
Yeah, it's for sure. It applies no matter what. We have a couple of pets. Yeah, but I also like how you have the kind of the fenced in or bouncing off the walls here for level 8 too, which is going to be a challenge. Obviously, it's slowed Dim down slightly because he's still working on 8. Doesn't have it solved yet. But
Yeah, he's getting his pretty complicated nested if there. It looks like 4 levels of if.
yeah.
What do you think? Would you go with a nested if, or would you go with ifs for something like that?
I feel like the efficient way would be ifs, but I might be old school and just like I typically would go nested, and I think it's just more out of habit than anything else. What about you?
I would go if as well. Actually,
Okay.
I was teaching class the other day. I teach an Excel Esports class here at U of A, and I was saying, well, this seems to naturally fit with ifs. And I started to do it, and you realize you really like to have that last condition as an kind of the catch-all, right? Like if it's not any of the first 2 or 3 things, it's the last thing.
Right.
And with ifs, that's a little bit harder to implement.
Yeah, it's true, and sometimes I just forget that last argument, and yeah. So I agree. I love the ifs is available. I just don't use it as much as I should.
Right.
But
I tell
hey.
you, it's one of the ones I see from students the most often, and that they might not know how to do something like an X lookup, early in the semester, and then they do, 15 nested ifs to make it work. And then, they tell you about how it took them an hour to do it, and then you show them X lookup, and, from then on, their life has changed.
That's a good way to, as a professor, that's a good way to get them to appreciate X lookup. I don't know if you're doing that purposefully, but yeah, that's a good way to learn it and appreciate it, because it is a game changer for, I think, just about all Excel users. And we're seeing just over 3 minutes to go. We have Dim partial points for level 8, so he's got something going. He just doesn't have them all yet.
Yeah, there must be one or two that's throwing him off, and then, it looks like he's going for that. For the last bonus question, where you look across all those levels and see how many dogs end up in the same spot at the same time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he's doing a data table, which is exactly how I'd approach this, where you're capturing their locations and you can capture it across all the games. And now, yeah, you can see how often they're actually overlapping. Yep, and there he's got that bonus. So he's got 3 minutes left to see if he can clean up a little bit to get that perfect score.
Wow, amazing.
Because I think we're dividing Dim's score by 2 to get the final count. Is that correct?
Little handicap there for Dim.
I think he said he did not agree to any handicaps ahead of time. So we'll try that next time.
Yeah, we'll try and slow him down. But he was our number 2 seed going into last year's Road to Las Vegas event. So he's definitely one of our top competitors, and does really, really well with these cases. A lot of fun to watch. But we have a battle for second still with Jack and Klinsman. Let's take a look at and see how Jack's doing with just over 2 minutes to go, and see if she can put any points here on the board. Kind of difficult to see what level.
Yeah.
She's probably on 7 there.
She was bragging about the big screen beforehand. It just makes it tough on us. At least we can see the formula. So she's doing a count if.
Yeah, easy on her, tough on us.
Right. She might be going back to the bonuses here since she's doing a count if. Maybe she's trying to get some points there and just make the jump.
Good point. Yeah. Looks like she's got all of her arrows parsed out and maybe doing that.
Because even though Dim has this, I think there's still lots of bragging rights on the line between Jack and Klinsmann here. And
absolutely. Yeah.
Samir, again, his setup might allow him to throw down a level or two here pretty quickly at the end, too.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's going to just 90 seconds to go. We'll see if she can get anything there. She's got bonus 3. Bonus 4 might still be open. Maybe switch over to Klinsmann and see if he only has bonus 1.
Yep, that looks like his logic and workings for these 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah, so
he's hunting for errors at this point and trying to figure out what might have gone wrong.
Example 101. So he's on level 6. Yep, got some ref errors there. And just under a minute to go. See if there's any points scored for Klinsmann or Jack. Dim's obviously got this one in the books. No one's gonna catch him at this point.
But is he gonna beat the case? I feel like I win if he doesn't get the 1250. So I got 30 seconds of tension right here.
Yeah.
I tell you, getting the difficulty right on these things is tough. And I'm actually really happy to see that Dim did not race through it in 15 minutes. And also that he didn't end up with, 200 points, which is sometimes how these go. They're just so brutally hard. So it seems to be in a pretty good level as far as a case writer's perspective.
Yeah, with just 5 seconds left, can any points be scored? Let's see if Jack's got anything.
There it is.
That is it. So we have Dim with the victory here. 1,150 points. Wow. Got everything but bonus 4 and 80% of level 8. My goodness. Incredible score.
Impressive performance.
Yeah. And we saw, Klinsmann actually probably won with those just partial points in levels 6 and 7. That probably was enough to score that extra 15 points over Jack.
And I didn't see Jack go for the ran between at the end, and neither did Klinsmann or Samir. So
yeah,
we'll have to ask them why they didn't throw the Hail Mary.
I did.
That's a good question. Oh, there we go. We got our competitors back. Well, congratulations, Dim.
Thank you.
Another victory on battle number 1 on our road to Vegas. So we're going to see you there.
Yes.
Wasn't a question, but excited about that. And Klinsmann and Jack, it's close battle for second place there. Klinsmann, we saw you score a few points in level 6 and 7. What was your strategy there? You just had some partial points.
Yeah, actually, I saw that I was 10 points behind Jack, and then I read levels 6, 7, and 8, and saw that the answers were like the sum of the rounds or the sum of the turns, and I just put like every answer 20. Did the score change? No, 19, 18. It was like a ran between, but
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So was it? Yeah, you did that early on with probably like 7 or 8 minutes to go.
Yeah, just to get above Jack's score, and then I started to tackle the level 6.
Okay.
Jack, how are you feeling about that?
I always knew it was going to be a close battle. We've trained together, and we always kind of just do that a bit. So, well played, Klinsmann.
Yeah.
You did great. I mean, well played, Dim. I never remember when I took part. This is a very hard thing, but yeah, no, that was I spotted that score just before the end, and I kind of threw my hat in at trying to calculate bonus 2 and 4 because I saw they were still free, and I threw something into bonus 2 and I started calculating bonus 4, and neither of them worked out for me. So,
well, it was a great effort. Good to see up there almost on the second place. It was a close battle, but Klinsmann brought in some good strategy there. That was interesting. I like to see that. Brazil has that competitive fire, huh? Just always getting that edge. I just love that.
A little way to do stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And Samir, how'd that case go for you?
I think I focused too much on structuring, and yeah, that went wrong on my way.
So Samir, we saw that you were building a lot of that structure early on before solving even the first couple levels. And so we did think you had the mechanics and the infrastructure built to really carry that through. And, you know, sometimes that really pays off and sometimes it doesn't. So it looks like today it just didn't quite click that well, but definitely appreciate the approach.
No, yeah, I think, yeah, that was the strategy effectively, but it didn't work out. Thanks for that.
So Dim, I was commenting at the end of the battle that I think I won this one since you didn't ace it. So what kept you from those last 100 points?
You know, it's interesting. I have no idea. I was I'm watching the live stream on my phone, like kind of squinting to see how my score moved to figure out if I even got things right as I went along. I eventually figured out that I didn't have bonus 4. I think I was pointing at level 7 instead of level 8, but then I fixed that and I still didn't get it, so I'm not totally sure what happened there. I have no idea what happened on level 8. There was a lot going on there.
I know exactly the sentiment. I've been there a couple times. It's probably a slight change that you need to make in the afterwards.
Probably. I mean, I will definitely check later.
It was close. It was close. It was nice to see a case where, like you said, David, it was solvable, but still challenging. It was good to see some points on the board too.
Well, it's going to be great to see you guys in Vegas. I mean, Dim, you've got your spot. Klinsman and Jack were there this last year. I hope to see you guys there. Samir, do you think you're going to make it to Vegas this year?
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. Again, the FMWC team is doing a lot to try to put this together as a fantastic conference. I mean, we're hoping to have, several hundred students from the MECC, several hundred professionals, because there is going to be a lot of learning as part of this, right? So we had speakers this last year. I think the target is we're going to have about a third overlap in the speakers from last year to this year. So 2/3 new speakers, new topics. So hopefully a lot of really great engagement over these couple days. And not just one day in the esports arena. We're talking about 2 days in the esports arena this year. Really, that way we can get the college students in there, we can get the pros in there, we can all interact and have a really great time, doing Excel Esports like we all love.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Yeah, if you want to get involved, go to fmworldcup.com to get signed up. Check it out. The esports arena.
MECC.college is the college student way to go.
Yes. That's a good point. I keep forgetting about that, David. We're going to have the college students there in Vegas as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun to see college students and the pros.
All right. And it sounds like we've got the preliminary results for the competitors that were doing this at home. All right. So these are our pros. So these are the top 10.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Whoa. Yeah, Chris, Willem, Jacob, Michael, congratulations, everyone. Definitely some familiar names up there, right?
Yeah. Amazing. And we got, so Dim still had the highest score with 1,150. Great to see that and Chris Clark, William, yeah, awesome.
Really tight scores there at the top too. And we also have one of our students, Patrick Chatain, this year's MEC champion.
Oh yeah, that's right. So was he also competing at the college level?
The cases were the same, so it's potential, but it's a little, the formats are slightly different. I'm guessing he was just doing the pro level on this one. And by the fall, he's going to only do the pros.
Okay, gotcha. And here's our college results.
Yeah, and we don't have the schools listed. We'll get their schools listed in the next few days when we get kind of the official. These are the preliminary results. But Peter made the trip here to Tucson for the MECC finals this last year. So he's coming from University of Pretoria in South Africa. Cedric is coming from, I think, INSCAE in Madagascar. Let's see, Tim was here at the finals from Indiana, as is Michelle, and he was in from Italy. Parthena is one of our U of A students, and so is Ryder Rhodes and Spencer Angel there at the bottom. So a good showing from the U of A team. But we'll get those official results out in the next few days once we have a chance to double check everything.
Sounds good. And that was the same case, right, David? So it was cool to see them doing the same case and putting quite a few points on the board there too at the college level.
Yeah, a lot of those college students are not far behind what we saw our pros do. You know, Dim is kind of a special case there. But I think, you know, that as a standard, you know, those students are doing great. And again, you know, by putting themselves out there and trying this, they're really developing the skills they need in this new, very data-driven world. You know, maybe it's not new that it's data-driven, but increasingly so every day, it feels like.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think more and more so. And it's awesome to see that you and other professors are getting involved at the college level with this and teaching Excel in the college level. I don't think I had any Excel classes when I was in college. So it's so great to see just everyone participating here in the sport that's evolving and growing that we all love so much. So like we said before, Road to Vegas. Want to give us any last words on that, David, on how to get involved and stuff like that?
Well, you can go to the FMWC website. You know, you can do the registration now because, like I said, the registration now is $6.99. You know, at this point, you're getting a ton of conference educational benefits there. You know, get your employers to pay for it. You know, if you're a student, talk to your school. You know, we had a lot of schools send teams to the MECC finals this last year, and those schools sponsored the students to get here. So, you know, get your classmates involved, get a professor involved, have them reach out to me personally, or just at MECC, MECC.college, reach out there, and we can get you involved and really make this event fantastic because it's the people that are there that really make the event go.
Absolutely. And if you're in the corporate world on the workforce side, you can also bring your coworkers, get your team involved, whether you're an employer or you have a team or you're on a team in any department in the organization. We saw a few teams at the last event during the training last year. They're coming from all over the country to learn about Excel and learn from some of the pros, the top people, and not only the esports side, but also financial modeling side as well. So there's a ton of great training and 3 days worth of content there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, like David said, get your tickets now, get them early, get booked in, and we'll see you in Vegas.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in, and you know, go Excel.
All right. Thanks all. Have a good one.
At the University of Arizona, we believe everyone is born with wonder. That thing that says, I will not accept this world that is, while it drives us to create what could be. That world can't wait to see what you'll do. Where your wonder will take you, and what it will make you. Start your journey at wonder.arizona.edu.